Hey everybody, I am coming making this video message, and I want to tell you that you should never value somebody else more than you value yourself. The reason why I'm making this video message is I want you all to know that there is a boundary that you have to set in being um overly available and overly giving. Sometimes we give so much of ourselves to other people that we will get lost in always considering everybody else, always giving so much of ourselves to another person. And when we do this, sometimes we forget that we are special too. We forget that we are important too. We forget that we deserve to have unconditional love as well. A lot of people, when they begin to put themselves in a place or a position of actually showing someone a lot of love and a lot of respect, and they consider them, they don't necessarily feel like they're doing wrong. Because, see, when you are naturally a giving person, when you are naturally a generous person, when you are naturally the type of person who loves really hard, it is not anything that is weird to you when you express your love and your care and concern and consideration for another person. That's not weird to you. It's not off to you. And sometimes when you're deep in that part of your character, you can get lost in it. Because when you show someone so much love, so much honor, and so much respect, there unfortunately are people who get so accustomed to it, and they are so used to receiving that they forget to reciprocate it. Maybe it's not intentional necessarily on their end, but sometimes people can become so spoiled with how you love them and with how you value them. This goes for everybody in your life. It could be your children, your own children. It could be your family members. It could be someone that you are in a relationship with. It could be your spouse. I remember years ago, there was a woman that I knew, and she was always, it was like obsessively, she was always promoting and talking about her husband. She would do it in real life, and she would do it on social media. And at first, when myself and certain people would see it, we didn't really think anything of it. We felt like, oh, this is cute. You know, this is what you want to see. You want to see the black love, not to play the race card, but you just want to see it. You want to see the black love. You want to see that people are for each other. You want to see that this person is down for each other. But then it started becoming kind of scary how she was always promoting and talking about her husband, because we never saw him talk about her. Every blue moon he would address her, or he would profess her. Every blue moon, like on their anniversary or maybe her birthday, he would publicly talk about her. Or in real life, he may say one thing about her, but it was so few and far between. But she was constantly talking about that man. You could tell that she was his biggest cheerleader. You could tell she loved him. She had a big heart for her man. And I'm not saying that he didn't have a big heart for her. That's not what I'm, insinuating here. But what I'm saying is that it started to get to the point we no longer saw her. We just no longer, people that knew her, friends, associates, church members, whatever, we no longer saw her. We no longer knew like who she really was. People started asking like, well, what does she do? Or I wonder why she's not necessarily doing anything in ministry. It was always, every single thing was about him. And I just knew from discernment one day, just by looking at her, I knew that she had began to lose her identity. She began to lose her identity and forget who she was because she was putting so much of her time and her energy into him. And guys, you all have to understand, this looks different for every person. I'm not saying don't support your man or your woman. I'm not saying, it's sad I got to put disclaimers out, but I got to put these things out because people comprehension and their perception of certain things you put out and speak on, or things that they read and hear, is selective. They don't know how to overall, perceive the point that you're trying to get across in the way that you're trying to get it across. They take it the wrong way and they go all the way off on the deep end or in left field with it. So I'm not saying don't be supportive of somebody that you love. I'm not saying don't be the cheerleader. You should always cheer your family members on. You should always cheer your children on. You should always show the person that you're in a relationship with how you feel about them. You don't hide them. You don't be ashamed of them. You don't be embarrassed of them. You show them that love and that respect and honor. However, you've got to get it too. Think about that. Who wants to walk around constantly pouring themselves, their love, their honor, and their respect into another individual, but they never take time to show them that same love? They never show them how they feel about them, publicly or privately. See, a lot of you all, you haven't been in a place or a situation where you can be married to someone, or you could be friends with someone, or you could be connected to someone, and you have their best interests at heart, but they don't have it for you. The relationship is just them taking and taking and taking and taking and taking from you, but they never give anything. And then when you go to them and you say, you know what, you're not really being supportive. I don't feel like you're showing me a lot of love. I talked about it. Sorry, guys. I talked about it in another message. But you know when somebody is not really into you like that. And it's not just from a romantic stance. You just know when people are not down for you like that. And so instead of you getting lost because you value others more than you value yourself, and you are not putting that same energy and attention into yourself, you need to know that you are in a very compromising position. Don't you ever lose yourself and lose your identity because you are busy loving everybody else, but you're not taking time to love and care for yourself. You're not taking time to know who you are. You're not walking into the gifts God have given you or the ministry that God has placed in your belly. You are not working on that. You are just so obsessed with another person or loving another person. And sometimes that does come from abandonment issues. Sometimes it comes from having a spirit of rejection. If you're the type of person who has been rejected a lot, or some of you all, it goes deep. You've been rejected from childhood. And so as you got older, more people started rejecting you. So when you finally get that person in a friendship, when you finally get that person in a relationship, you are so afraid of losing them or them rejecting you or abandoning you, you are overly available. You're calling them all the time. You're texting them all the time. You're repeatedly telling them you love them. You're always telling them, I fear losing you. I think about that. What was the young lady's name? It was a young lady. She's an actress. And she just said on an interview that her biggest fear was her husband leaving her the way her father left her mother. And so it just makes you think. That's not to judge this young woman. I'm not going to say her name. It's not to judge her. But her fear, and the Bible talks about this. The Bible talks about how your biggest fear will come up on you. That's not my opinion. That's the word of God. So the thing that you really, really fear, you are inviting that into your life. You don't fear somebody walking away from you. You don't fear somebody getting tired of you. Pure love does not get tired. You can be agitated. You can say, I'm tired of this person's ways. I need to take a break from them. It's overwhelming. But the real love, it doesn't change. It doesn't stop. It doesn't dissolve. Overall, the point that I'm making is you never value someone more than you value yourself. The way you love other people, the way you respect other people, the way you take time to pour into other people, the way you take time to check in on other people, the way you take care of your man, ladies, the way you take care of your woman, fellas, the same thing needs to be happening for you. What will you do if you lose your identity? Have you ever been in something so deep? You question and say, who am I? I don't even know who I am anymore. This is why you see a lot of people when they come out of a divorce, or when they come out of a relationship, or they come out of a toxic job, or they come out of just a very bad interaction and connection with someone, you'll hear them talking. They may have been in that situation for many, many, many years. And as you're talking to them, you may ask them, well, what finally pushed you to the point you got fed up? What finally pushed you to the point that you got the strength and the courage to walk away? And they may say, you know what? I lost sight of who I was. I don't even know who I am anymore. My whole focus was him. My whole focus was her. My whole focus was them. My whole focus was the job. My whole focus was the church. My whole focus was the pastor. My whole focus was my kids. And I've neglected myself and everything I'm supposed to take care of when it comes to me. Guys, don't ever be that type of person. Value yourself. You need to know you're important and worthy of love too. That's the video message. Well, guys, it's time for me to go because I have some other things to do. The Lord willing, I will be back with another video message. If any one of you have taken offense to anything I spoke about in this video message, it's okay. It's all right. I'm not worried about it. I am not concerned because I know you will forgive me in the morning.